We all want to eat delicious food, but how do we make sure it's healthy? We're honored to have 3 top chefs here in the U.S. News Break Room to talk about eating healthy without sacrificing taste. I'm Angela, and this is Laura, and we're health and wellness editors with U.S. News.
You may know Spike Mendelsohn from his restaurants Good Stuff Eatery and We the Pizza. We also have Isabella of Graffiato and Bandolero. And we also have Art Smith, who has many restaurants, including Table 52 in Chicago and Art and Soul here in D.C. So welcome, chefs.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great to be having us.
Great to be here.
So a lot of people know you guys from Top Chef, but what are you up to these days? What is new?
That's loaded.
That's really loaded, I think.
You know, yeah, I mean, my restaurants on Capitol Hill are Good Stuff Eatery and We the Pizza, so we've been kind of pushing the expansion of Good Stuff Eatery, which is kind of fun. So we're on to our 3rd location now in Georgetown, and now we'll be opening up in Philly too, probably late October. And what else is going on? Bernays is a new steak frit restaurant I'm opening up Capitol Hill, and other than that, I'm just keeping busy, having fun, enjoying the weekends, hanging out with my boy Mike here.
We do hang out a lot.
Having some fun, and that's pretty much it. You know, throwing some food festivals, and that keeps us pretty busy.
I mean, we're all chefs and we all cook, and that's our goal, is to keep having fun and open restaurants and stuff. And we're going on our 3rd and 4th. We open up a Greek restaurant in D.C. and 14th and W called Kapnos, and then we're next to that it's going to be G Sandwich Shop, which is our sister restaurant to Graffiato. So that's on the horizon for us right now. This summer, early summer, late spring, early summer.
Well, Art and Soul is kind of, our big philosophy is fried chicken takes no sides. It's we came to a place where many thought there wasn't any soul left, and fried chicken won. And I believe that we're there more than just to feed people, but we're there to also provide them with a message of hope. When I tell our team there that when you're feeding, what you do and what you represent far exceeds more than you can only imagine. You're helping people make better decisions on the Hill. I'm grandpa amongst the bunch, and at 53 years old, I've cooked in this industry a long time, but I now feel that the importance not only to have healthful food, but affordable food. That 47% of Americans are 47 million, are going hungry. I mean, our dear friend who put us on TV, Chef Tom Colicchio, co-produced an amazing movie, A Place at the Table. I'm sure you all saw it, and it's pretty polarizing to think that, how many Americans are going hungry. I believe the chef, who's able to feed the masses healthful, affordable food will win the Nobel Peace Prize. That is the greatest obstacle of our time. And how do we do that? We have to engage farmers. We have to get people to grow food, to engage in food. There's never been a better time to be a chef and to be an advocate.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I'm glad that you're mentioning this, because we're going to have a couple questions down the road about how to eat healthfully on a budget. That's something that we've been trying to toss around the health and wellness team too. But first, we want to talk a little bit about making healthy foods tasty or tasty foods healthy, depending on how you look at it. And so, Art, you had mentioned, your expertise is in Southern cuisine, which is often identified as fried and high in salt. And then Spike, you were trained in rich, classic French cuisine. So how do we make healthier versions of those kinds of foods that are just as delicious?
With love.
Well, I feel like the thing about healthy eating is really about you have to do everything in moderation, really. I personally don't believe that you have to be on such a strict health conscious eating schedule. I feel like if you spread it out and there's a little bit of balance through your diet, I think that's the most healthiest, because the fact is, for me, I think some fats are really good for you sometimes. Do you know what I mean? To be honest, some of the healthiest people come from this little town in France called Périgueux, where they do what? They raise foie gras. Do you know what I mean? And and they eat a lot, about a cup of fat in their diet a day. But what I'm saying is just everything in moderation, and then using fresh food, that's locally grown also goes a long way. And then just making some adjustments to your diet, not sacrificing flavor.
Well, I also believe, and I so heartily agree with Spike, and I'm sure Michael would agree too, is that what's making America fat is not fried chicken and a delicious, wonderful burger and Michael's amazing pizzas. That is not making America fat. What is making America fat is processed food. The fact is we're eating too much food, we do not know what's in it. we must have a coming to Jesus, as Oprah Winfrey says, about processed food. For something that came to rescue people so they could prepare food quickly for their families is poisoning them. And no one wants to even say that, but that is the problem. Should we make a healthy mac and cheese? Hell no. Just eat it once a week. It's all about choices. And rather than preach to people, give people choices.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, to like directly answer your question, like the style of eating a hamburger that has, that it's hamburger meat and it's got good stuff sauce on it and it's got like, all this kind of stuff. We have a health conscious burger on the menu, which is, we use a turkey burger.
I didn't order it.
But a lot of people do. But a lot of people do, and it's just a little bit of a leaner meat. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's less in yeah, exactly, and it still kind of mimics the whole idea of a burger, and we make it tasty. We put like a little bit of Tabasco in it. Like we make good things about it. So, I think the bigger I think Art Smith kind of touched on it, is these processed foods that we're eating all over all over the place. I mean, we're even talking about like these huge monopoly companies like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, like all these fast food companies that are feeding the nation, right? Yeah. And it's so hard to battle them because they actually control how everything is grown now, and they control the factories, and it's like it's such a bigger picture than people will actually realize. It's almost like you're dealing with the mafia of food, and they're controlling because they're making super profits out of this, and it's a kind of pretty much impossible to battle at this point.
It is difficult. I have cooked for kids. I'm in the kids healthy cooking business. We taught 33,000 kids how to cook last year, and one of the things I love to do is travel the world. I have cooked with kids in the Arctic Circle, the Sami, who are an amazing culture. We made reindeer stew, but then I said, "What's your favorite thing to eat?" Pizza, frozen pizza. Okay, all right. And then I'm on the savannas of Africa. And I opened a school, and the first thing I had to do was throw out the whole pantry because it was all processed food. And I said, where are the mothers? Where are the mothers cooking for the children? This is what the children need. They need food from their mothers, not this stuff that was prepared not by hand but by machine, where no heart, no soul, no love was ever put into it. Mm-hmm. And and I just believe that we have to reconnect people. As much as all three of us are passionately engaged in our food, we have to passionately engage our diner into the food to care not only about what they're putting in their mouth, but what others are putting in their mouth.
Okay.
So coming back to this idea of balance and moderation, is that kind of how you shape your daily diet, or what does a top chef eat on a day-to-day basis?
You're talking to Cassius Clay.
Well, these days, these days, exactly. These days, I've adjusted my diet so much, to be honest with you, in the last year. Well, actually, maybe even just in the last 6 months. I do run a couple fast food restaurants. I'm always tasting a burger or having a slice of pizza. I indulge. But by indulging, it makes me feel tired. I don't have as much energy. My days get cut short a little bit because I can't do it. And I've noticed by, not totally kicking everything out of my diet, but kind of supplementing it with let's see, this morning, you're gonna laugh, but I had like a spinach banana granola shake with like a little bit of apple cider and a jalapeno in it, and then I had like a boiled egg. And then I'll continue maybe eat, maybe I'll have like a burger later on today because I just have to, maybe because I'm just in the restaurant, it's so easy. And then I'll do something like later at night, maybe I'll eat like a nice piece of salmon with some like sauteed spinach or what have you. So to me, it's just all about kind of balancing it, and I feel like you really need to, what I'm learning right now is like you just need to listen to your body, because we're all individuals. Everyone is different. Everyone's going to react differently to the food that you eat, to the different type of exercises. So I think you really need to kind of have to learn about your body. Is what I'm finding like starting to learn is that you have to listen to your body and what it's asking for a little bit. And I feel like when you get to that point, then you're going to have healthy habits. Whether it's exercise or eating differently or whatever, I just think it's going to, you could kind of put it in perspective and see what you need to do to be able to have like great energy and to be able to be lean. So
exactly.
We had talked about processed foods just a minute ago, and that kind of brings us around to, increasingly it seems like chefs and home cooks and even diners, we've been seeking these fresh, locally grown ingredients. So maybe, Mike, could you tell us a little bit more about this farm-to-table movement?
Yeah, I mean, the farm-to-table movement, it's been going on for a long time. It's, for me, and our restaurants, I mean, that's a big focal point. But I think it should be a focal point for everyone. You know, I mean, we do everything from scratch, from our breads, our doughs, our butchering, our whole animals. I mean, everything we do in-house. And the more people that are working with the farms, you know, it's more expensive to buy from a farm or to buy organic and local. It's harder to get, and it's more time consuming to cook. So you're fighting against it, even though it's the best thing for you. So I mean, you know, for us at the restaurant at Graffietta, I mean, we even source locally from our spirits and our wines, and we have Virginia wines, and we try to do everything we possibly can East Coast, if not domestically. But for us, the more restaurants that, you know, the chefs stick together and work with the farms, the better the prices will become, the more that the stores can carry it, and it'll be easier for everyone to get their hands on, because, you know, years ago, the whole process thing took over and all the farms stopped, and that's how America was. Now it's all coming back over the last, you know, 10, 15 years. It's trying to get back into that realm, but it's hard to really compete with it. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know, the number one focus is getting the product in and keeping it fresh and local and keeping it seasonality. And if you do that, you know, for me, it helps. Like if I'm, you know, ramps are coming into season, and all the green vegetables are coming in. So if you really work with the seasons, it helps with your food costs and everything else. If I'm buying stuff from across the country, you know, tomatoes in the winter, it's going to be expensive, or, you know, limes and things like that. So I really try to keep it seasonal and fresh, and that's just what we do at the restaurants.
Art, do your restaurants use locally grown ingredients?
Most definitely. Wes Morton, who I am so fortunate, I'm telling you, you know, I have wonderful chefs, and Wes came to me from Louisiana, and he's made a really just a commitment for bringing fresh local foods to the restaurant. You know, everything you touch comes, you know, from a less than 100-mile radius. He's making his salumi. He's so much engaged, and we've had all these amazing farms we're working with. One of the things, because being an advocate about things, I grew up on a farm. I just inherited my family farm. It's been in the family for over 100 years. It's a 200-acre plot of land that sits on the border of northern Florida and Georgia. Our family, they have persevered through epidemics, flu, yellow fever, and then the Depression. But one thing that sustained them was growing food on the farm. And what's interesting is that I feel that one of the major problems, I mean, processed food we know is the problem, but what a huge problem is in our country, we do not know how to take care of ourselves. We've forgotten how to survive. And I think not only should we teach people how to cook, but we need to teach people how to grow. And after coming into this, you know, with this inheriting the farm, you know, one of the things, you know, I'm working on, we're doing a big photo journal of my farm in my great-grandmother's honor, is we're doing a photo journal we're bringing the farm to the hill. And it's gonna, because I think the whole idea of connecting, you know, the chef to the farm. I'm not saying you go out and buy a farm. You know, they're expensive. They you know. You got it, sold me. You know, I have a small herd of cattle, and they all have names. We don't eat people. We don't eat people or things with names. You know what I mean? We don't. You know, and you know, I'm like the St. Francis of Assisi of chefs. You know, I don't want to see a face. You know, but I will eat. But I do believe that you know, that the more engaged, and I think what's interesting is that, you know, when you go to other parts of the world where fresh is so close, when you go to Italy, they do not waste any land. Just a ditch is growing, you know, asparagus or whatever, and you know, I think that's what we need to have legislation you know, that prevents urban, you know, from, you know, where suburbia takes over, you know, the wonderful fertile farmlands, that we preserve land for growing food. When America, you know, for a country that was founded by farmers, you know, and one of the things that we've always bragged about is how we can feed the world. Now, if we don't preserve our farmland, we'll not only be able to not feed the world, but not ourselves. And we will be dependent on processed manufactured food to survive. And it's just so important. We know we need to preserve it. We need to be conscientious of chemicals. And I think it's not a better time, now to be a chef and to be an advocate. And I want to tell you something, being a personal chef all those years, and people say, I just want to be a fly on the wall. I just want to be able to witness, to hear things. When you feed people, I have a philosophy. You feed them, they'll come. You feed them more, they stay. You feed them lots, you get a bill passed. Food, it's such a miraculous, wonderful thing. You can do amazing things with it. You feed people, you can get anything you want. And I think the more we feed people, there are no angry people, just hungry people. I really do believe that is the way we get to people. The more we feed them, the more we win them over.
I like that. That's a good way of putting it. So Art, you grew up on a farm, but Mike, you're an Italian, born and raised in Jersey.
Jersey
Shore.
I love that.
North Jersey, Jersey Friday.
It is the Garden State.
Yes.
Best tomatoes.
So tell us a bit, how did your upbringing influence your food? I know you have the Jersey Shore pizza, but then also, not just growing up in Jersey, but also your extensive travels throughout Mediterranean regions, for example. How do we see that today, at your restaurants?
I grew up obviously in an Italian household in northern Jersey, and there's a lot of Italians all over the place. I started cooking with my grandmother at a very young age, and red sauce, gravy, pasta, a lot of carb heavy, a lot of peasant food, a lot of bread, soups with beans and things that weren't expensive to make, but to really feed your family. And that's why you always see some bigger Italians, because we eat a lot of carbs. But I grew up cooking my whole life, being in Jersey. I was close to New York City, so we weren't by farms or anything like that. But as I got into cooking, professionally, that's when, for me, I started to cook because I wanted to travel the world, and that was the original thing. I was like, well, what can I do where I can get a job anywhere I go in the world? If I go to Asia, if I go anywhere, I was like, I can cook, because people need to eat. And that's what started me cooking. So I liked different ethnic cuisines. I liked working with different ethnic chefs. I traveled, through Europe, South America, Mexico, and I just, put a lot of these techniques into my food. But at the end of the day, whenever you travel to these regions, whether it's, Brazil or, in Greece or in the islands or in Turkey, whatever these people have around them is what they really use. And that's the focal point. And when we decided to open up Graffiato, my whole focal point is we're Italian inspired, because we have pizza and we have pasta, but we want to source everything locally like they do in Italy. So let's get our local hams, let's get our local charcuterie, let's get our local wines from the vineyards that are an hour or two away. Let's really focus on all that, and that's what we do. With a lot of the products that I work on, and just keeping it simple and keeping it fresh. And I do travel a lot. I love the Mediterranean. I love the food. It's simple. It's fresh. It's very vegetable based in a lot of areas. That's kind of what the next chapter is for the next restaurant too.
Okay. And so it sounds like local and locally grown food that's fresh has become a trend, and an important trend recently. And then we've heard you, Spike, use another sort of buzzword, which is fast casual. Could you explain to us a little bit what that is and how it's different from fast food?
Okay, well, yeah. The fast food industry is what I call the people that use the processed foods, and again, not to pick on McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell or any of those places, but those are the places I'm talking about, like low quality, not farm fresh, not healthy for you. Like they're making it really, really quickly and shoving it out. It's got plenty of salt in it, and it's just unhealthy for you. Match up one of those burger places against mine, where we resource our ingredients locally. We take the time to make them. You can't get your burger in 30 seconds. It's going to take 7 to 8 minutes because we're actually cooking it fresh, and we're seasoning it, and using fresh ingredients. So that's more of kind of the fast casual space for me, which I feel. See, like my theory on what's wrong with America is that we've lost patience. Our generations don't have patience.
It's not it's also time too.
Well, forget time. Just like we're a couple generations of everything's at our fingertips. We want everything for instant gratification. We want to see it on the iPhone. We want like this. We can't watch a show for longer than 15 minutes. You know what I mean? It's everything we want fast, and that's the whole culture. Do you know what I mean? And that applies it to food. People just want to go. You know, they have a half an hour break. They just want to go shove food. They don't care. They want to just feel fulfilled, but they're not really getting fulfilled because it's not really, you know, doing anything for their body. So that's what I think. I think we're a nation that has lost patience. We can't, you know, nobody wants to plant seeds and watch tomatoes grow. They rather just go get them, you know, that are sprayed by ethanol and trucked near to their house. So it's like the whole thing to me is about, you know, when we talk about Mediterranean countries and you talk about your travels, those people take the time to eat, first of all. Like, lunch isn't half an hour. They figure it out in their lifestyle that lunch is going to be an hour and a half. So they sit, they eat properly, they digest, and that's why I love traveling, is because that culture to me is like, it's so much grander, like, you know, it's so much, you know, focused on food. It's like something of importance. Here it's just an afterthought.
Well, I think it's an afterthought too, because, you know, in America you have usually everyone in the family working. It's not where the husband works and the wife stays home and cooks for the kids. And it's a different mentality. It's a different world. And people have 45 minutes for their lunch break, a half an hour. People don't have time. And for me, the fast casual is probably the fastest growing things in America. But the good thing is now with chefs like Spike, you know, I'm putting up a sandwich shop. It's just like, you know, we're trying to do it with healthy food, and there's a lot of new companies coming out that are doing, like, you know, salad bars and salad places, and that's the future.
That's why I think fast casual is that spot that is going to help, you know, amongst so many other things, obviously. But as far for me, it's, you know, people don't want to go anymore and sit for 2 hours at a dinner or something like that. Do you know what I mean? They want to be able to get good food.
I agree 100%. That's why I took the Swedish naval chefs to both of your restaurants. I said, this is the future.
Yeah.
You know, my biggest advice to these kids that are coming to school is, get a Twitter account, make sure you have a Facebook. I said, when you go to a bank and they look at your credit, people that invested you will look at how many followers you have, and they will determine whether you're worth investing in. Because whoever will follow you will invest in you, will buy a sandwich from you or a burger from you. It's social media, it's bigger than it's ever been. And I believe fast casual, like, I've worked on a new project called Life Kitchen, and we have it in California. Well, you know, having it in California is like having it, you know, in the promised land. I mean, you know, people there are, you know, already ahead of the country in many ways, and no fryer, no white flour, no white sugar, no soda, etc. And we've opened our second location, and I complained to the corporation that's kind of low-hanging fruit. I said, I want one in Mississippi. You know, I've recently went to Mississippi to help engage with families who are suffering from obesity, and I went shopping with them, and the reality is that in this wonderful, fertile, beautiful part of America, processed food is just, that's what people are eating. When, you know, what was interesting, I took this young woman into the store, and it was just a sea of this processed stuff, and I said, honey, come outside, I want to show you something. And I took her outside, and there was this little kind of rusted out truck sitting out there, and was piled to the sky with greens and stuff. I said, that's what you need. That's health. You know, once upon a time in our country, you know, when we didn't have as many choices, and I think we have too many choices. Yeah. In my part of the country, you know, food was looked upon as medicine, because we didn't have doctors like we have now. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that was very traditional was greens. Greens were considered, like, not only the actual eating of them, but the broth. I mean, the Italians, in every culture, greens are considered, the food of life. And I said, that's what you need. That'll set you free. It'll literally set you free. but poor thing. Just like, I'm just telling you, like, I grew up with said, something else you could do is go eat some greens. They'll fix you up.
I think Art hit like a really great point, because food has just become such a lifestyle thing these days. Like, let's go out, let's go try this restaurant, let's do that. And I mean, that's great for us because we're all in the business, and that's what we want people to do. And we want them to go out and we want them to eat, but it's not like food isn't looked at as like just to survive these days. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you go to these third world countries, food is completely looked at a different way. It's not, it's just for survival. Do you know what I mean? So you eat the minimal amount to satisfy your body so you can, live another day. Here it's just like, let's party, let's go out, eat, let's order like 15 dishes, and which I love doing that. So it's kind of like, there's something like that's just not right with the whole thing. But I mean, it's kind of difficult to go back.
But,
I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Right,
yeah.
I do. But one thing I think is great too is that people like you and Mike had make food. You know, you've made everything you've touched sexy. America likes sexy. You know what I mean?
You're sexy.
And honey, I'm just very gay. You know, and you know, I'd have to say I'm probably the funny gay, chef of America, and I'm proud to own that one. But what I'm trying to say is too is that I think, and my girlfriend is, they're hard on her with her Taco Bell work with Lorena Garcia. But I will tell you something. If you all like Lorena, all of us, if you could look what you've done with making that gastropub, you're so sexy and beautiful. I mean, I was so proud to take these young chefs in there and they taste that. I know people like yourself and like Spike and what you've done with burgers. Oh, everyone wants sexy. They want affordable sexy. I believe, I believe that that we're going to win. It's going to take some time, but how we're going to win is making it sexy. And I think, okay, you're right. We may not agree with what Lorena did, but the fact is she's making it sexy. And she did this bowl, and you know what? It's better than the alternative. But the reality is that we can't alienate them. We have to engage them, and they just have to want our sexy. Yeah. And big corporations want that. They know that we sparkle more than they do.
Yeah. The whole Taco Bell thing with her. So I mean, she pretty much. I'm a little unfamiliar. She put one item on the menu.
More now. She's got 2 or 3 now.
2 or 3. That's a little bit more health conscious and stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Chef inspired.
I think that's pretty brilliant. I mean, obviously she's going to take a lot of heat for kind of endorsing Taco Bell. But I mean, if she's I feel like if they're making necessity small steps in these fast food conglomerates, I think that's great. I mean, I wish McDonald's would jump on board. I wish Burger King would jump on board on something like that, or Arby's or whatever. Because the fact is if we eliminate all the fast food industry, right, people will starve.
Oh, most definitely.
Do you know what I mean? They will just starve because they can't afford anything more. They won't know what to do because, like you said earlier, they don't have the resources to even know how to grow or how to farm or whatever. They're going to starve.
But if somehow or another, people like yourself and like I said, you guys are the stars. Is that if you could go into this industry and show them some sexy and show them how they can, there's another way. I think that's the way that we're going to get there. And because I think these, I look at these wonderful young Americans who are going to inherit our country. They all want I just came from the steps of the Supreme Court, for equality, and I'm seeing all these wonderful young faces and. Many of them my people, many of them just people want to be there because they believe in that everyone should have the right. And my belief is that what's going to kill us faster, fat or hate? Right. But then you see the other side. Why? And the interesting thing about it is our country is as big as it is and as small as it seems. We somehow or another forgotten the importance of education. The only way we're going to have great change in our country is that we cannot not skimp on education, and that goes across the board. If we want people to eat better, you got to educate them better.
100%.
Let me ask you a question though, because I'd love to hear your answer on this. Why, to me, it's just aggravating, and it actually makes me a little mad. Is why do these huge companies like McDonald's and Burger King get a pass? You never hear, you never hear any. You don't see any commercials on against McDonald's, against smoking, or things like that. No elected officials ever talk about these huge companies in a bad nature, but we all do know, we know that's most of the problem. I mean, why do they get such a pass and they never even get touched?
Because they're scared of them. Right. Money. It's all about money, and it's all about the lobbying. That the fact is, I mean, you guys both live here in Washington. You see that. You see how the lobbying groups are, and look at what Monsanto just did. Right. How could they do that?
I'm just saying, even Michelle Obama, we all have worked with her before, right? Let's move.org, right? And she's got this huge initiative, right, to reform school lunches and make them healthier and educate kids and all these things. But I mean, why hasn't a person in that position with such a great initiative gone down on these huge why? Like, why is it like an untouched thing? Is it? It's just strictly political, right?
They're strictly political. They're strictly afraid. They feel that if they go against these giant companies, that it's just not going to be pretty. But I want to tell you something. I'm sick and tired, and I'm not going to say the nasty word, of cooking for pretty. It's about cooking for ugly. With ugly comes change. You know, all three of us are diplomats for the U.S. State Department America Chef Corps. Okay, we're going out in the world. You know, you've just been, you know, to Turkey and to Greece and to different places. Where are you going?
Right now, I'm going to the dish pit at Bernays and trying to. No, just like I've been traveling a lot. I mean, you know, I've been Indonesia, Jamaica.
Right.
Like I've been traveling.
And I'm going
to
Israel.
Yeah.
And I think about, okay, we as diplomats, as a young, as y'all young, not me, American chef diplomats, you know, what are we taking out there to the world? And I do believe our greatest gift that we're taking out there, because, mind you, what they hear and they see, you know, we'll go to places and we've heard and we've seen it and we've had people say, oh, you shouldn't go there, there's this. So you can imagine what there is. The fact is that American chefs, we have this amazing ability to have people listen to what we have to say. We have really captured the public's attention. Not only a very certain part of the public, but the whole country, is that there's never been a time when when people were so engaged with American chefs as they are now. People do listen to us. They listen to you when you tweet. They listen to you and me, you know, and that's what we can do, is that we can get more chefs around the world to speak up. Before, because they only look upon themselves as cooks, but the fact they're more than that. You know, they're feeding people. People are entrusting their health with them, and to me, that's where we can really make a difference. Is that we can engage these chefs to be advocates. If all the chefs in America were to stand up and say, okay, you know, we want fresher food, we want less processed, we want this, we want quality, etc. The change that would come, because the fact is, you're never going to be not nice to the people that feed you. Sure. Because, you know, if you're not nice to them, you ain't going to get fed. Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I'm telling you, we are powerful. We need to realize our power and go forward.
It takes time. Everything takes time. Yeah. You know, as long as we keep doing what we do and work with, you know, good products and good food and farms, and, you know, it'll just continue to help and spread the word, and that's what we're doing.
You guys really do have an incredible platform, so it's encouraging to see you doing great things, and, you know, to see that you're excited about this. Well, yeah.
We are very excited, and you know, I think about, okay, what's next? Mm-hmm. You think it all the time?
Yes. What's next?
What's next? And, you know, but I do believe, you know, whoever is able to feed people affordable, healthy food. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the person that wins the Nobel Peace Prize. That's going to be the person, because we so need that. Who is that? And who's going to do that? I mean, I was having this big discussion with my husband Jesus. I married Jesus, you know, and I said, and we were talking about Michelin's, and we were talking about, you know, James Beard Awards and all those wonderful things, and, you know, and I've been a part of all that, but the reality is, what is one's intention? You know, as a chef, you know, our intention is to feed people. You know, as we were children. You know, I think that we have to kind of look at what's really, really important. I believe, as long as our intention is that good, it's like our whole intention is to feed people good food. People will acknowledge that, will see that. I mean, it's clearly the reason these guys are such phenomenons is because people love them. And they don't just love them because they're cute and they cook good food. They come from a good place. And and people believe, and I believe, it's called conscious consuming. They eat at your place because they love you. Not only just your pizza, but they love your heart. The same as your burgers and stuff like that. You know, and your wit and your fun and all that. So. Yeah.
And you had touched on, you know, eating healthy on a budget. That's going to be the key here, is to be able to do it affordably. And that's actually the very first question in our lightning round.
Yeah, so we are really interested in how you can eat healthy without spending a fortune. So if we sent each of you to the grocery store with $10 or $20, told you to come back with ingredients to make a healthy meal, what would you buy? Spike, let's start
I'm on the spot first.
Yes.
I'd buy some peanut butter, maybe some corn, some chicken, some greens, and I make like a really like light stir fry.
Mike?
I mean, you know, I'm Italian. I go back to pasta a lot. It's maybe not the healthiest, but you know, a lot of vegetables. I mean, you know, I think if you know, for me, growing up and cooking in the industry was I always wanted to get the best, learn how to make the best techniques of cooking vegetables, and that's why there's a lot of vegetarian dishes that I do and that I work with. So for me, I love a lot of vegetables. I'm not majorly into proteins a lot, and just you know, cooking it right and making it fresh.
Look at food as in their most simplest state. You know, like, hello, that's better than eating a piece of cake. And it's a lot more easier and a lot less messier, and it'll set you free. I mean, I clearly, like, we've forgotten to love an apple just for it as an apple.
You're right.
I could use some frosting on that apple. I mean, I don't know about you, but.
Well, no, a little peanut butter. Peanut butter,
yeah.
No, but you know, but like you know, when you're on that, you know, that it's amazing. Like you know, we you know, just appreciated a wonderful, delicious apple or a banana. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Banana's great. Peanut butter.
you know, and what does that cost?
Not much. Oh, I mean, well, that's the thing. It costs a lot more at a Whole Foods than maybe, you know, a farmer's market or things like that. I mean, you know, it's also all these companies that, you know, skyrocket the price on us. But I also think the thing about, you know, the $10 really quick, if I, you know, touch, is it's also, it has to go with educating people like that. We talk about how they can stretch their $10 out, maybe over like a day or two or a day and a half or two, where it's not you're just spending $10 on one meal. You're spending $10 on maybe buying some less ingredients. So you're not let's say like instead of 6 ingredients to make a meal, you're gonna buy 4 ingredients to make a meal, but that meal is gonna make so much more so you can eat it maybe twice a day. I mean, you know, have it for lunch the next day or something like that. So I think that is also a key point of how to stretch your money out if that's the bind you're in.
Exactly. Do you have any other budget-friendly?
Yeah, well, you know, my wife, she doesn't do it every week, but we try to get into that pattern. It's like, you know, yesterday she goes to Whole Foods and she buys a lot of vegetables and fruits and things like that. And then she cuts everything up and puts them in Ziploc bags. So you have like cucumber strips and celery, and then she'll make some hummus with some chickpeas or beans or whatever.
That's your wife.
Yeah. Well, my wife loves to cook, but so it's easy because again, like you know, it's about timing. Like I'm in and out of the house. I'm working a lot. I'm bouncing from restaurant or doing events or whatever it is. So for me, what's the easiest thing to eat when you're in a normal household? There's potato chips, there's snacks, there's things, and that are not really fully healthy for you, and they're also more expensive. So I mean, a cucumber is going to cost you in the pennies. You know, I mean, it was going to cost 59 cents for a cucumber, but I mean that can go so long when you're just dipping it into hummus or a little roasted pepper puree or things like that. And that's what we do for a budget. I mean, she buys a bunch of stuff, and it's also healthier for me because I will eat the worst food that's in front of me.
Well, I have the same thing, and what I do, I make one-pot wonders, and if I just can't fill the fridge full of food, I'll eat it all. You know what I mean? So what I do is like I'll make like Jesus. I have 3 dogs, 5 cats, and you know, and a turtle, and you know, so I'm taking care of them. I know it's
Vegetarian turtle.
But my favorite thing, I'll make like a big turkey chili, okay, and then what I'll do, I'll turn it into sloppy joes, or then I'll turn it into tacos, or I'll turn it into this, and and you know, you can, and it's just what many chefs have been taught to do, is how to, you know, repurpose things. And you know, something like a chili or a stew can be made into many different things, and that saves a tremendous amount of money. And again, you know, like for me, it just keeps me from, you know, I just keep essentials. You know, like, you know, I have my, I could not wake up in the morning without a nice cup of coffee. I mean, I love coffee, and I have to have a little foam on it, just a little foam.
This is Wolfgang Puck coffee, by the way. Just I don't know if you knew.
And you know, oatmeal costs nothing. You know, a little bit of oatmeal in the morning with you know, just you know fruit, you know, berries and stuff are very expensive, but the frozen fruit is probably more tastier than much of the fresh, because a lot of the fruit that you buy in markets and stuff, it's been picked to green, so it doesn't have much nutrition to it. But the frozen is good, and like I said, that's an affordable breakfast. You know, I think eggs are an amazing, healthful, nutritious, affordable protein. you know, I eat a lot of egg whites. I think
I like the yolk.
Yeah, I think you know, well, you know, but you know, I'm twice your age too. But and I think dairy. I mean, I think, you know, yogurt. You know, really good. You know, high protein yogurt. I mean, you don't eat a lot of protein, but you know, you may find that, you know, eating, you know, high protein like a yogurt, it would be good for you.
Yep.
There's great ones that are out there. You know, I think, you know, less is more. I mean, think of just essentials, and really just try not to, you know, to just clutter your life with all that stuff. You know, like when I think of food myself at home, I have a protein, and it's, you know, I keep it like 4 ounces, and I have a salad. I don't eat a lot of carbs. You know, I try to you know, I stick to, like, you know, quinoa or you know, I don't eat much rice either, but, you know, things of that sort. And no soda whatsoever. We drink a lot of water in the house. We drink a lot of iced tea. I'm in a southern, you know, house. Yeah. I have a, you know, a cave full of wine. I don't drink any of it. I'm funny. It only tastes good when you're drinking it with people. I don't know what that is. I just, you know, but it's just, you just kind of have to keep it on the simple side, I believe. And that by keeping it simple, you also keep it affordable.
The second question in our lightning round here is that, well, the first day of spring was last week, even though it's hard to believe with there's still snow on the ground. So, but we want to know, what is your favorite spring produce item to serve?
Mine is ramps.
Yeah.
I do a ramp.
We're supposed to go in order, by the way.
A ramp pizza.
Lightning round goes to me.
I skipped you.
Ramps happen to be my favorite.
You know, one of the reasons also too is my wife's family lives in Pennsylvania, and we go up there every year and pick them when they're ready. So we'll be going up there in a few weeks, and then I bring lots of boxes, and I bring them back to the restaurant, and then I have one of my externs clean them because they're very time consuming. We pickle the stems, so we have them for months at a time, and the greens, we do purees, we do pastas, we do pizzas, and you can do so many different things with it, you know. You can grill them and char them, and, you know, mix it into a yogurt for sauce. I mean, there's a lot of things. So for me, ramps are my favorite. It's probably a lot of chefs' favorites because it's such a small season, and you can't grow them right now. They cannot be commercially grown.
Okay.
Well, you know, I probably, you know, it's my favorite is asparagus. I love asparagus. You know what I mean? And it's this time of year it's good. You know, asparagus, you know, mushrooms, you know, things of that sort, and they're better if they're just really nice, you know, simply done. You know, I think that's probably, you know, one of my most favorite.
Okay. Well, we've talked a lot about trends, but what else are you guys seeing? You know, what can we expect on our restaurant tables this coming year? Spike?
The ramen renaissance, man. It keeps pushing forward. I think people, you know, I think it's brilliant because, first of all, it's nostalgic. It's nostalgic for us to eat. I mean, we've all had ramen, we've all had the cup of noodles, but chefs are taking it and making it, you know, with a lot more body, a lot healthier, a lot more vegetables, and you know, keeping it simple. And I think that's one of the you know the trends to kind of look forward to this year.
It is a trend, but it's also a trend because average price is $12 to $13, and the average thing is about a gallon of liquid and noodles and whatever.
Value is amazing. Yeah.
And so it's cheap, it's quick, and it tastes good. And it is, you know, it's not bad for you. So you know, I mean, who doesn't want a nice bowl of soup on a cold day?
Well, I love ramen. But you know, one of the things that I don't know how I kind of got into this, because I mean, I would like to create an allergy-free kitchen. You know, I have a zillion customers that come in, and I can't eat this, that, and everything. And you really can't do it because of cross-contamination. But it would be very, you know, but it's really a real big problem in our country. And I do believe there's a place for an allergy-free restaurant where...
We got that coming. My Greek restaurant. The only reason why I say that is because everything is separate. You have a veg section for just different types of vegetables. You have a meat section for the whole animals on the spits. It's very simple. It's very vegetarian. There's almost no butter in the cooking or cream. It's very yogurt based, and we focus a lot of that healthy Mediterranean Greek food, and it's with the culture that comes with it from hundreds of years.
Right.
And I'm finally opening up my first Greek restaurant. I ran a couple, but.
I think it's tremendous. I was just in Atlanta, and I went to Biddy's. It's called? Biddy's and something. Biddy's. But bitty something. Anyway, I had the most Mac Dad fabulous gluten-free fried chicken. Wow. It was like superfluous. And I was like, because I have all these people that have gluten problems and stuff, and I'm trying to figure out how to make a gluten-free biscuit. Okay, but I do believe that gluten is a huge thing. It is not going away.
Well, how do all three of you respond to all of these increasing demands? It's either gluten-free or it's organic or vegetarian, but it seems like everybody does have a food issue.
I mean, obviously it's hard at a place. I mean, we usually have corn pasta in-house, so if they let us know earlier, we'll make a corn pasta with like our cherry tomato sauce or one of the sauces we have if they're gluten, because obviously my author of my book, Carol Blymeyer, she's gluten. She can't have gluten, so she comes in a lot, so I have to make sure I have it. And I don't have a gluten-free pizza right now just because of the way we cook. There's flour all over inside the oven, so it wouldn't make sense for me to really do that. And I don't understand when people say they have gluten-free pizza and they're cooking in the same oven.
Yeah, you're right. It's because you have cross-contamination.
Yeah.
I'm more along the lines of there's people that do that better than me. So I feel like if you are in that realm where it's you know your spots and you know that they can do it. So I mean, it's not that I can't come up with a gluten-free pizza. Like I'm sure Mike can. I'm sure we can all like come up with things that are allergy sensitive. But the fact is like at the end of the day, we're still running a business. Do you know what I mean? And there's like it's like checks and balances. You kind of have to have like this finer balance. I think other restaurants do that better than me. So you should probably go over there.
But I do believe that you could do a fast casual that is allergy-free, gluten-free, and I do believe that it could coexist with other restaurants that aren't in the same little, because we all know that restaurants that are clustered together do better, and would just give people a choice. But because I don't have gluten problems, and I understand that, but I have people in my life that are. So coming from the background as a personal chef, where it's basically whatever you want, I do. I mean, it's just it's true. It's clearly this is how it is. Yeah. I'm a pleaser, and so much that I forsake money, and what you're taking, and but I believe, and I've had to become a business person. I think what we can do, we can create something that that will serve that purpose, and give people that choice, and you don't need to be making a gluten-free pizza. Your pizza is perfectly beautiful the way it is, and they just don't order pizza. Okay.
Yeah, there's other things for them.
Yeah, and the same with your burger. There's.
I have a shun the bun.
Exactly. It's delicious.
Yeah,
and,
I try as much as I can, but it's
And but I do believe that as chefs we have to be more sensitive to that than ever. And I'm a big proponent of having EpiPens in the restaurant. If I hear one more sad story where a child has died, suddenly from a nut allergy or from other allergies, it just makes me want to cry. And I do believe something as simple as having an EpiPen can save a person's life. And so I think it's important that we need to be sensitive to that.
Okay. Our last question is just simply and briefly, what are you most proud of with your restaurants?
I am most proud of what food has brought into my life. Actually I was sitting at the Capital Area Food Bank and I was talking to about 1,500 people the other day about the importance of food and all this kind of stuff. And I had like a little bit of a moment where I was like, where would I be without food? And the fact is I wouldn't be really anywhere. Do you know what I mean? God knows. Maybe. Yeah, maybe jail. Like who knows? But the fact that food has played such an important role in my life and has benefited me and brought up all these opportunities in my life where I can go do work with children at schools, and I can go do charity events, I could do fundraisers, I could work at food banks, I could sit here on a panel and talk to you guys about food and help promote like healthy, conscious eating. I felt the fact that food has brought that into my life is something that I'm mostly proud of, because it's nothing that I ever thought, let's just even say 5-6 years ago, that I thought I would be doing whatsoever. So it's helped me find an important place in the world, and it's made me, it's kind of made me proud.
You know, for me, I mean, there's a lot of things, but the one thing I really enjoy mainly about my first restaurant, Graffiato, is that at the end of the day, the guest who comes in my restaurant controls their entire experience. And in a lot of restaurants and chefs don't really fully allow that. And the reason why I say that is you know, everything is small plates, so you can get one small plate. You can come and get a pizza and go to a game. You can come and get a beer. You have every single wine by the glass, so you can get one or a bottle. At the end of the day, if you want to come in for a chef tasting menu, we have that. We can offer that. If you want to come in with a bunch of friends for a party and just try the whole menu, you can do that. If you just want to come in for a quick thing, at the end of the day, you control your experiences and how much you spend at my restaurants. We have dishes from $6 to like $15, you know, and then we have, you know, beers and wines and cocktails. And for me, that's the mentality, because I wanted to hit everyone, have a chef-driven restaurant where it's open to the public. You see us cook, you watch us, you hang out with us, we bring you into our world. And at the end of the day, we have kids coming in eating spaghetti and red sauce. We have people coming before the Caps games. We have you know, people coming from around the country, celebrity chefs coming in and eating and doing tastings. And at the end of the day, you guys that come into my restaurant control your own destiny, and you do whatever you want with it and spend whatever you want. And that's what I enjoy being able to give. Not saying, no, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. You guys do what you want. And that's what I have fun doing with the restaurant.
Very cool.
What I'm so proud about Art and Soul is that I can create delicious politics.
Yes.
That, you know,
I love
people can come there, they can enjoy a nice soulful meal that comes from a very good place and that's locally grown, but we can also do a little business.
Yeah.
Art, that's a show. Yeah. Delicious politics. That's a show, I tell you.
You know, again, you know, people say, you know, they want to be a fly on the wall. Well, you know what? I'm a fly, and I'm buzzing around, and I'm listening to conversations, and I'm going to zero right in there. You know, whether it's the Swedish Royal Navy chefs, where I'm like, oh, I need to say hello to them, or whether it's a politician, or where I think I need to talk to him because he needs to, you know, stand up for, you know, equality. I'm proud that I have a platform, and I have partners that allow me to be an advocate. Strangely, the restaurant was supposed to be called The Advocate. Can you imagine that? But when my neighbor became president, I said, we need a soulful place on the hill. Well, there you have it.
I mean, I think you hit a really great point, too. I think that you've seen in the last 5 years so many chefs kind of flutter to DC and open up restaurants. And I think that's very important for them because it is a nation's capital. This is like the place of movement. And if you at least have one place here, it brings you here, it gets you involved, and hopefully that could spread throughout the rest of the country.
Exactly.
And you know, I think that's a great point.
We all you more than about making burgers and
yeah,
pizza.
Exactly.
You're more about all your delicious Italian food, and I'm more than fried chicken. And I do believe that we have a platform, and if we don't use it, it's a great waste, and people are listening. So why not speak up?
Sure.
Well, congratulations on all of your successes, and you guys are terrific. And
thank you.
You know, it's been quite inspiring, really, to hear all of your ideas and your excitement. So we thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
It's been awesome.
Thank you.
And for more from the Health and Wellness team, check out our Twitter handle @US News Health.
I just Spike.